Well, I want to tell you, I'm very excited to do this episode. And yeah, I don't know. I'm overjoyed. This is a movie I grew up with. Did you grow up with this movie?
No, I did not.
Well, all right then. I will.
I've seen it less. Like I can count on one hand how many times I've seen it, and I don't need all the fingers. Don't need all the fingers.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're the movie men.
We are. I'm Peter.
Yes, you are. And I don't know why I'm being elusive. I'm Brady. And we do this show on the internet, and occasionally y'all vote, and you tell us what movies we're going to watch and review. And you did that.
Not only, so they did that, and as we're about to say, this is the year 2000 that we voted. And let me tell you, Brady, when I was tallying the votes, and I had them all added up in front of me, I looked.
You're making me sound lazy. You're making me sound like I don't.
No. Like
when I tally all the votes, like I always have to do.
No. I mean, if we were all like measuring, like the next segment, we could talk about all the editing you do.
No. It's fine. It's fine.
No. So I was looking at all the votes, and it was really close. There were two films that stood out far and away with the rest of them, and I looked at those two and how close the votes were, and I said, "Dang, we're in a tight spot."
Close as in they were completely tied.
Yeah. You didn't like my use of George Clooney's line?
I did.
Okay.
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't a bad enough. It wasn't a bad enough reference to make me want to RUNNOFT.
Nice.
Right.
But yes, we had a vote. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Won. Just
kind of.
Barely. It was a tie.
Yeah. So we're going to do both. We're going to do Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yep.
And Castaway.
Yes.
In this very episode. No,
this very episode.
No. We're going to do Castaway soon.
At a future date, yeah. Sometime.
Yeah. In the next little bit. But Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? A George Clooney rendition of, he didn't direct it, but he certainly stars in it as the one capable of abstract thought, in a kind of inspired by telling of Homer's Odyssey. Mm-hmm. So how familiar are you with Homer's Odyssey?
I was going to get to this, but since you brought it up now, I'm not familiar with it. I know like a general premise that there's an individual and there's a war, and when the war is finished, then this individual journeys home, and there's a bunch of, ups and downs, and I think quite eventually he maybe gets to where he wants to go, but like not the same as he was. Like I think all his crew's deceased, and he's seen a lot of stuff, but beyond that, and that I might not even be like completely correct about what I just said, but just in a nutshell, I kind of have an idea. But beyond that, I'm not as familiar as I want to be, because when I finished the film, I was curious if I would have been more intrigued by decisions of the film, being like, ooh, yeah, like, ooh, this is an interesting take on that, or ooh, yeah, in the story, this is what happens here. So there were sometimes I wish I did know the story more. Were you familiar with it?
Not at all. In fact, I just learned everything I know about it just now while you were.
I had forgot. Like I either forgot or didn't even know that this film was based on that story, and then obviously it's right in the opening credits.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah. So listen, we're gonna get to what we think of this movie, but I kind of want to do something a little differently than what we normally do.
Sure.
If that's okay.
Of course.
So a number of years ago, I want to say like four years ago. Does that sound right? About 4 years ago, I sat across my kitchen table from someone who I'd be lying to you if I said anything other than he's one of the most learned men that I think I know. You know, just when it comes to good life stuff. I don't know how else to say it. Just good, solid. He's just a wealth of knowledge,
Cool.
and abstract thought, actually, and you know, and just, you know, the ability to be able to sit and have sort of a nice weighted conversation. Now, he sat across from me at my kitchen table, and he began to tell me a tale that was just crazy enough to be, you know, it was crazy enough that it made it seem real, made it seem like, okay, yeah, you know what, I think there might actually be something to what you're saying. And he was talking about this movie. He was talking about Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And he was telling me about how Oh Brother, Where Art Thou is basically a massive metaphor for Christianity, for the Christian faith. And it was, I've gone to talk about it a couple of times since then with people, and I've never been able to get really any of the details proper. So anyways, when I knew that we were doing this episode, I reached out to him and I said, hey, is there like, you know, is there an article? Is there a link you can send me? Like, where is all of this information? And he said, you know, up in my noggin. Like, this is mine. This is my brainchild. I came up with this. And he's like taught it to youth groups and stuff like that. And up until this point, like, he typically just ad-libs it. And he says, but I can write down some notes for you. And I said, that would be incredible. And so he's done that for me in the fashion of like a scene by scene breakdown of what happens in the movie, and sort of, you know, the biblical or the faith based tie-in. And so I would kind of like to just run through these somewhat rapid fire. I'm just going to read verbatim what he's written here. Cool. I'd like to go through them somewhat rapid fire and just kind of get like a sentence or two of reaction and feedback from you as we go.
Yeah.
Okay, so Everett, Pete, and Delmar are on a chain gang locked together, right?
Oh, yeah. That's where
and
we
beside
open up,
that, they're convicted of sin.
Sure.
They try to break free and run from their fate. They seek redemption.
Okay.
They jump a train, and the men on board do not respond to them. The train is taking the men to heaven. They can't hear him speaking. Notice they are leaning on sacks of flour. More on this later. Pete stumbles, causing Everett and Delmar to be pulled off the train. They can't go to heaven because they haven't been redeemed yet. The train continues on, and almost immediately a handcar comes along with a blind man on it, and they join him. Obviously, the handcar is supernatural, otherwise it would have been run over by the train that just went by. The old blind man tells them their future. And he says the old blind man is an angel. More on this later. He foretells their salvation. They visit Pete's cousin, who breaks their leg irons off. They've lost their chains, but are still not free. They listen to the Pappy O'Daniel Flower Hour on the radio. The radio is a metaphor for the voice of God. More on this later. Washington Hogwallop turns them in for the reward money because the sheriff wants them. Right? Pete's cousin.
Yep.
The sheriff is a metaphor for the devil. He is always seen with a bloodhound, and fire is reflected in his sunglasses. Fire, hell, reflected glasses because he wants to reflective glasses because he wants to be partially blinded. More on this later. They elude the sheriff and stumble across a religious congregation performing baptisms. Delmar joins the congregation to get baptized. He immediately confesses his sins. They continue their journey and meet Tommy Johnston, based on Robert Johnston, the blues guitarist, who allegedly sold his soul to the devil. Tommy says he sold his soul to the devil. Tommy represents the people who are willing to risk their souls for treasures and talents of this world. When asked to describe the devil, he basically describes the sheriff. Empty eyes, mirrored glasses, big hollow voice, bullhorn, and a mean old hound. They drive Tommy to Wheezy, the radio station that plays the Flower Hour, so that they can get money for singing into a can. The owner of the radio station is blind, hence he is also an angel, just like the blind seer they met earlier. The radio station he operates plays the Flower Hour with Pappy O'Daniel, governor and owner of a flour mill. It broadcasts gospel music and is a metaphor for the Holy Spirit who communicates with whoever will listen. Pappy, or Father O'Daniel, right? Pappy being a name that can be used for father. Father O'Daniel is the preacher, who also owns a flour mill, from which comes the Eucharist, or bread of life. That's why the dead people on the train were leaning on sacks of flour. Delmar and Everett meet Big Dan Teague. He earns their trust, betrays, beats, and robs them. Pete is not there because he gave in to temptation and was turned in by the sirens. So he's back in chains because he gave in to temptation. Big Dan is blind in one eye. Therefore, he is an angel, but he's a fallen angel. That's why he deceives and betrays them. He steals their car in order to stop them from reaching salvation. Notice that the fallen angel claims to sell Bibles, but he quotes the book's names incorrectly.
I think I forgot about that part, because he did do that, right?
Genesee, from Genesee to something, he says. Yeah.
See, I assumed that was just his accent, but fair enough.
Yeah. They meet up with Everett's ex-wife. She has divorced him and tells their daughters that he was hit by a train. The train is the symbol of salvation. You are supposed to be on it, not run over by it. Everett does not have salvation, but neither does she. Everett and Delmar go to a movie. Suddenly, the chain gang is led to watch a film. They find Pete that night. They break him out of prison again. Pete's temptation caused him to be in chains, a slave to sin. His friends help him to break free. Now Pete and Everett confess their sins. They stumble across a KKK meeting. One of the guards is Big Dan. The leader of the clan is Homer Stokes, who is hoping to replace Governor O'Daniel in the upcoming election. The KKK are planning to lynch Tommy, and the boys break him free. Now that Pete, Delmar, and Everett have confessed their sins to one another, they are able to see evil more clearly. Homer Stokes is a disciple of Satan, which is why Big Dan, the fallen angel, is also there. Homer Stokes hopes to replace Pappy O'Daniel as leader of the state. This is a metaphor for Satan setting up a false church. Notice that once Tommy confesses his sin, the others are able to help free him. They now continue their journey to salvation. The four men attend a political dinner. Homer Stokes tries to turn people against them. He gets run out of town on a pole, literally. Governor O'Daniel pardons them. Once again, this is on the radio. They join Pappy and his brain trust. Homer Stokes, as an agent of Satan, tries to convict the men of their sin. Pappy, Father O'Daniel, absolves them of their sins and compels them to sin no more. They have now secured their salvation. Everett and his wife are now reconciled. They head to the cabin to find the wedding ring. Upon arriving, they find the sheriff there waiting to capture them. The devil is hoping to snare them and snatch them from the hand of Jesus. They tell the sheriff that they were pardoned by the governor. The sheriff says, "We ain't got no radio." The radio, being a symbol of the Word of God, the Holy Spirit, the devil cannot hear the Word of God or receive the Holy Spirit. Everett drops to his knees and confesses to God. A massive flood comes from the breaking of a levee, and they're all washed up in it. The flood is a symbol of baptism. The devil and his demons are destroyed. However, the men are redeemed, and they remain alive. They remain alive. As Everett walks with his wife and daughters, you see a blind seer from the beginning of the movie in the background. The angel, perhaps a guardian angel, is there watching, though he is blind. Notice how the blind are the ones who can actually see, and the sighted have no real vision. And that's it. That's the notes that he's, And so, listen, I'll admit, when all those years ago, when he started into this, I thought, I don't know. And then I started thinking about it, and I was like, yeah, there's like a odd number of blind people in this movie.
Sure.
And so, yeah, blind people, and then the flower checked out, and the radio as a metaphor for the voice of God. That's how, that's how all of these plot points are moved along, is with the radio. I don't know, man. It's got just enough crazy in it that it's that it's probably there's something there. What are your thoughts?
So, first of all, that's quite interesting, and I think we can all think of examples of friends or people that we watch on YouTube or critics that can find something in anything that can kind of, if they want to explore a theme or a story aspect and say, hey, like I'm connecting these dots and here you go. And
Sure.
Like you're saying, some things can kind of be crazy or some things can kind of just be like, well, that's not that wild. I'm not that interested. And I think this is first of all, it's fascinating. Second of all, I think it is wild enough that it's piqued my interest, but it is grounded enough in the connective tissue that you're connecting these dots with, that as you explain it to me, that it's like, it's not just really, obviously it is one person's interpretation, but it's not that out to lunch is what I'm trying to say.
Well, it's just so intricate, I think.
Yeah.
Like of the theories that you hear from movies, I think typically they lack this degree of intricacy. And to be able to just have that many ties, like that many things that kind of tie into each other without needing to stretch things a little bit. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, no, like everything you're saying checks out. I have no argument against it. So it's cool. I think, yeah, you're right. Like the sheriff is always seen with fire reflecting in his glasses, right? Mm-hmm. And all of these things. And yeah, it's to me, it's just a really, as fan theories go, I think this is just about as intricate and therefore just about as credible as they come.
And I think the thing is, it's out there and it's incredible, but you don't really have to take a leap of faith to kind of go, okay, yeah, I see it. Right? Yeah.
Wait. Do I have one? Wait. Hang on. Let me turn it up. Let me turn it up.
Nice. Yeah.
There we go.
Woo!
There it is.
First of all, A, nice. B, that might be our first live sound effect on our show ever.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, and it's here to stay, I think.
I hope so. You don't really have to go out on a limb to believe anything that they're saying. Like, you can have an interesting conversation about that. So I want to pick a couple things and just kind of just my thoughts on what you just said. There was a couple things I made a note of that I just want to pick your brain. So I think it is interesting because there's a lot of themes in this that I never really noticed until you've highlighted them. But there's the theme of the flower, there's the theme of the radio and what it means, and a lot of theme of the blind characters, and specifically the blind character like on the rail. I'm not sure what that device is called where he's pushing himself, but he shows up at the beginning and at the end. So as a side note, it'd be interesting to know, like the Coen brothers, who obviously wrote and made this film, I think they've got a bit of a tendency or legacy or history of having maybe some nuanced film with some ripples in it. So I don't think it's a coincidence that there's all these things and your friend kind of going on a limb and kind of connecting them. Like, I think that's very cool, and it'd be interesting to know how much was intentional and how much was just the theme of, like the Southern Baptist kind of culture that this movie takes place in, and it just so happens to deal with things like baptism and radio and preachers and whatnot, and they kind of go hand in hand. But so my interesting thoughts is I think I'm quite fascinated by this theory, and overall it's intriguing, but the things that stuck out. So Big Dan is an interesting point. And the fact that, yes, he was blind, but he was only partially blind. So kind of being the fallen angel, I thought that was just intriguing.
Someone who sells Bibles but does it for the wrong reason and has lost touch with what the word even says. He's forgotten how to pronounce the names of the books.
Yeah, which I think, I'm wondering if I just watched it or if, because I just watched that and I assumed it was just his Southern accent mispronouncing, like that's just how he pronounced Genesis. But I think that's an interesting point. Maybe he just didn't know the books of the name, like the names of the book.
Yeah, maybe.
So regarding to the angel, something I'm not understanding. So we've got the angel at the beginning that I think that, like, resoundingly I agree with, who's on that rail car, and I get that metaphor. I get Big Dan with the fallen angel. I'm just not quite completely understanding the second blind man when he's in the radio station, because he wasn't prophetic, and he wasn't fallen like Dan. Like he was just kind of in between. Like he was still kind of racist and just kind of normal. So I'm just curious. I'm just wondering how he fits in, because the first angel was kind of this prophetic neutral guy who wasn't racist and who wasn't a jerk and helped the guys along. And obviously Big Dan was fallen and he screwed the guys over. But I'm just wondering, like, what are your thoughts on that, specifically that second blind man, and how he fits into the angel theory, or am I overthinking it?
Okay, so a couple things. One, I don't think that Wheezy was... racist by today's standards, sure. Racist by the 1930s standards, he's not the racist people in this movie.
Sure.
The fact his use of the word Negro is just a time period accurate term.
An unfortunate reality of the time.
Sure. Likewise is him referring to it as a genre of music, and that they don't play that. I don't think that's any different than him saying, we don't play that music. I don't know that that's necessarily any different than a rock station saying we don't play country, we don't play hick music, right?
Yeah. Okay.
As far as his connection, or as far as the credibility of him being an angel, so if the metaphor is that Pappy O'Daniel, Father O'Daniel, which, I mean, that's uncanny. Like, that's just so good. If that's not a thing, then that's stupid coincidence. But if he's a preacher, if Pappy O'Daniel is a preacher, and the radio station represents the Word of God, and the means of the Holy Spirit, the means of getting it out there, right? Getting out the Word, then the fact that he's the one operating the radio station, he's the one facilitating the delivery of the Holy Spirit. He's the one facilitating the delivery of the Word of God, which certainly, then paints him as some sort of angelic being.
Something that I think you kind of made a point of, if it's not something related to this theory, then like it's coming really close. What
Sure.
like you've seen this a lot more than I have, so when I saw this, I was surprised, and it was interesting as far as the story is. We've got this contending governor or this contending politician who
Homer
really
Stokes.
is Homer Stokes, yeah. Who's
Is you is or is you ain't my constituency.
and he's really painted in one light, and then we see him, and like you reveal, or like you said in this theory, he's revealed as the leader of the Klan. And it is interesting from that point on, before I knew this fan theory, we do see this, like he is just a totally different character as far as like his, I guess you could say his true colors are showing, or he's painted back a little bit from what we thought he was. And that's something that I just wonder, like, I'm wondering what I thought of that, or what you thought of that, before you have this fan theory to kind of go along with. Because, like, what is this transition of him being something and then just at that turning point? Is there anything there?
I mean, yeah, there's no two ways about it. When the sheep's clothing is no longer on the wolf, Homer Stokes is a piece of shit.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know if I thought anything uniquely of it outside of this theory, but you know, again, that it just works. That it's the deception. It's the presenting itself in the means of pleasure and appealing things and enticement. Sweet talking you into things, when in reality it's evil and corruption and just prejudice and all of this stuff. So I don't know that I thought of it in any way other than just he's a politician who is very misguided, is not a good guy, and certainly shouldn't be elected. Things are going to go pretty poorly for certain groups of people if this guy makes governor.
Looks like, at least if that hall is any indication, it doesn't look like he's going to be reelected, hopefully.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So, yeah, I think it's ultimately interesting, right? Because I think on one hand, you could make the argument that, if you have enough themes that are related to the Depression in the 1930s in the Bible Belt, eventually you're going to come up with a lot of Judeo-Christian themes that you can tie together, like say, for example, the flood representing baptism. So I think there's sometimes you could take a seat back and be like, okay, like maybe you're making something out of nothing. But with the volume of things and the connectivity of the things, eventually all these themes, like the flower, radio, the characters that are blind, like at some point you got to wonder, I think there's a bigger theme going on here, or what it represents, or what it can be a metaphor for. And I think that's a really interesting theory.
I think it's just the reoccurrence of all of those elements, right? So it'd be one thing to say, oh, this happens at one point and maybe it means this. But to say, I think this means this, and all other 4 times that this pops up, it still fits. That I think is what adds some gravitas to the theory, right? And just makes it a little more like, oh, okay, yeah, like, every time this happens in the movie, it does seem to represent this, doesn't it? Or it could, because there's no instances of that happening where it would conflict the theory.
And I think this is a movie that, if you want it to, it can lend itself to theories like that, because it's a real movie about a real time, and it has some realism, but it is the artistic path that I think this movie takes does lend itself into a little bit of surreal components, like when Tommy joins the car and there's a 5-minute conversation about how he sold his soul to the devil and to get guitar skills.
You sold your soul for that.
Right. Like, I mean, like that, I watched that and I was entertained by that scene, but at the end I'm like, okay, that's kind of like an interesting conversation. Like, that's not really a reality-based conversation. The last time I picked up a friend, that's not in line with something that would really say. So I'm just saying, or even with the man on the rail tracks who gave the boys a ride, like there's elements to this movie that can lend itself to a theory because it takes kind of an artistic path. And
right. So yeah, I mean, interestingly, in the 30s and 40s, making deals at Crossroads that was a and probably exists and has existed since. But a lot of the lore that comes out of in the character that he's based off of specifically gave a lot away to the story of selling your soul at the crossroads for something in exchange, right? And then, maybe you make the deal and it gives you some sort of wonderful ability, and then you have 10 years. You have 10 years, and once those 10 years are up, then the Hellhounds, your time comes due, and the Hellhounds will come and collect you and drag you down. But which is, so there's a lot of music. There's a lot of music from that time that is, thematically based on selling your soul and hellhounds and the devil and stuff like that, because it was a time of I don't know if it was like part of it was the Depression and desperation led to people, desperate times call for, but yeah, so that's just a fun little tidbit, is that like he's based, he's obviously based off a real character, inspired by a real character. There are other characters in this, like, Babyface Nelson. George Nelson was a bank robber from the 1930s. He died when he was 25 years old. His birth name was Lester. Oh shoot! What was Lester's last name? It wasn't Nelson, but yeah, George Nelson was his bank robbing name, and he was nicknamed. I don't think he ever referred to himself that way, but he was his nickname was Babyface Nelson. So that's a real character as well. Question for you,
please.
How jarring is the not only the cows getting shot, but the cow that gets like lodged in the underside of the car. Like, it's graphic, man. Like, it's
so as a side note, it never ceases to amaze the movies that I find on Disney Plus. Like, I'm still not used to just.
Is this is this on Disney Plus?
That's how I watched it.
Oh, okay, I own it, so I just watched it the old OG way, but
the OG way. There's just so many films that are on Disney Plus that I just sometimes have trouble getting my mind around, that being like, this is not a children's movie, but it's on Disney Plus.
Well, it's because they own Fox, right? So it would have been tied into the, what is it in Canada? It's Stars.
Yeah, But yeah. I rewound it and watched it a couple times. Just not that I got any joy. not that I got joy.
Hey, honey, come look at it. You're not gonna believe this, honey. Look at this cow. Look at this dumb cow. Just gets plowed by this.
I was just curious. Like, A, I was shocked that it happened, but B, I was just curious how the CGI held up, because I'm obviously like, they didn't use a real cow.
It holds up great.
It actually. Yeah, it really does.
It holds up pretty darn good.
Yeah, for sure. But it was a shocking revelation in that.
If you're not prepared for it, it's an upsetting moment. You're just like, because he shoots it, and you're like, oh my gosh, like I didn't expect. God, you just see the bullet holes, and then all of a sudden, the next thing you know is the cow gets run over, and you're like, holy shit, like. What am I watching? It's like when you're watching Hacksaw Ridge. You watch the first half of the movie and you're like, oh, this, and then all of a sudden there's a moment where you're like, what movie am I encountering? Good Lord. I love Hacksaw Ridge. Anyways,
I know the number of times to bring up, like, we'll be talking about Toy Story, and you'll be like, yeah, well, that reminds me, in Hacksaw Ridge, there's this.
Yeah, remember
one
the guy
scene.
that loses his guts in Hacksaw Ridge? You know. Yeah.
I think it shows. We bring up what we want to bring up. Like, I found a way to bring up The Great Gatsby and Cruella. You find a way to bring up Hacksaw Ridge and Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? It's good. It's good.
It is, you know, like if we're sitting here and all of a sudden, you know, I want to talk about tuna fish sandwiches and dysentery, then you know, then I'll just bring it up. I had gout on the mind last week, and I asked you if you had gout.
You did. Yep. That is a fact.
Yeah. I for the record, I don't have gout.
Neither do I.
No. Okay.
But it's not a joking matter, I'm sure.
No. I hear it's very painful, incredibly painful.
Yes. Yeah.
The soundtrack. So let's talk about soundtrack.
Sure.
Now, George Clooney doesn't sing in this film.
But
he came damn close.
Really?
So he spent a couple of weeks practicing his singing. Then ultimately they decided to go
another direction.
Yeah. But what is his name? Blake? Tim Blake Nelson? Is that his name? The guy that plays Delmar? Look it up. Yep. Look it up quick.
Oh yeah, it is Tim Blake Nelson.
Okay, Tim Blake Nelson.
I'm looking at it.
He does actually sing in the Jailhouse Now in this.
Well, that's interesting.
These are those are songs that have existed. That and my favorite song from the movie, a song that I've been singing for the last 2 days, Big Rock Candy Mountains. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. And then I'll just find myself whistling it. I'll be in the middle of something and I'm like, in the Big Rock Candy Mountains. I love that song.
You'll be in the middle of your tuna fish and dysentery and humming that tune.
Yeah, in the middle of my... Not now, honey. Wait till I'm finished my dysentery. But I love it because it's... Not only is it such an old-timey song,
sure.
But it's evident that it's an old-timey song by the lyrics, right? So lyrics like birds and the bees and the cigarette trees. That's not something that you would ever sing about as a nice, beautiful, pleasurable thing nowadays.
No.
So I love that. In the Jailhouse Now, obviously, you've got occurrences of songs like You Are My Sunshine, and then obviously Man of Constant Sorrow, which is the song for which the Soggy Bottom Boys become... And to me, this is the funniest part of the movie, is... Sure. That they recorded this song in a tin can and then they went on the run. And they haven't been listening to the radio. They haven't been keeping up with the charts. And so little do they know their song has ended up on the radio and has ended up on the radio with force. They are the most sought after musical group, and they're not even a freaking musical group. But they're the most sought after musical group because of this recording. So when they to me, the concert that they do at the end is so funny because they start to play the song and the place loses their shit. Everyone's like, hot dang, it's Soggy Bottom Boys, and people are standing up and clapping and cheering. The song's just starting and they have a standing ovation. And there's this amazing moment where Everett, before he starts singing, Everett turns around and looks back at Pete and Delmar and just gives them this look that is like, what in the world?
Yeah.
What am I missing here? But yeah, that they are a phenomenon. People are just crazy about, and so to me that's so funny that these three guys who are on the run from the law are also the biggest musical group around, and they have no idea. They have no idea their song has even made it onto the radio.
Yeah, it is an interesting component in their storyline for sure.
You're a big soundtrack guy, though, so talk to me about music.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those films that it has a strong soundtrack, or at least I would say it's a strong storyline, and part of its backbone is the soundtrack, right? Like I would say, I would go out and say the storyline and the soundtrack are equally as important. Would you not agree?
Oh, absolutely. And one, I think one feeds the other.
Yeah, because I think there's some films, and you're not always the biggest soundtrack guy, and it depends on the film, obviously. But I feel like this story is quite hollow without the soundtrack. And how it feeds into the location where it's set, the time period, all these different facets are just fueled by the soundtrack completely. And we'll talk about how we score and rank the movie at the end, but I think the soundtrack, actually, I've got some numbers here. I think the soundtrack might have been the best thing I ranked about the movie. No, I didn't. No, it was the second best thing. But regardless, I think it's definitely strong. And you can't help but hum or like tap your feet or kind of sing along to definitely some of the songs as it's happening or when you're walking away from the movie.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Cool. Can I tell you about something?
Please.
So I grew up with this movie. My mom loves this movie. And so when I was growing up, we had VHS of it. Remember those days? Remember tape?
Do I ever?
And so I grew up with it. And this is we had the movie on VHS. But boy, you better believe we had the soundtrack on CD, and I would listen to this thing in the car on. So it wasn't just the movie. Like that's next level. When because you can only watch a movie every so often.
Yep.
But if it's in the car, you can listen to a soundtrack almost every day.
Yep.
And so that's a whole nother level of falling in love with. So like when I watched this movie this week, not only did I have the nostalgia and the love and all those memories from all the times I've seen the movie, but also all of that nostalgia and positive feelings from all of those years listening to it in the car. Right, learning it's through that I learned the lyrics to "In the Jailhouse Now" and "Big Rock Candy Mountain" and "Down by the River to Pray" and all of these songs was because we had them all on this friggin' VHS or on this CD in the car.
CD, yeah.
And so anyway, so I grew up with it, right? And so my mom knows I love this movie. Spoiler alert. And so like 2 or 3 years ago, she went out and I don't know how she tracked this down because it wasn't actually a product back in the 30s. They kind of made it up for the movie and I guess produced it as a product as a novelty item since then. Okay. But she bought me a tin of Dapper Dan pomade. And yeah, so to me that's just like it's just
that's next level.
It's so fun. Like it's this
is
kind of thing.
Is it completely for show, or did you ever use it?
I used it. Okay, so it wasn't. So here's the problem. Sure. They made a line of them. Wait, hang on a second here. I'm just Googling something.
Yeah.
Water-based Dapper Dan pomade is inspired by made in the. Oh, I'm completely out to lunch. It was around in the 1920s. 1920s and 30s. Oh, cool. So but Dapper Dan was an actual thing. Anyway, right. So she got me Dapper Dan. It wasn't the one she got me was wasn't actually the pomade. It was like a wax or something, like a hair wax.
Oh yeah. Yep.
which I didn't, like a matte wax, and I didn't, or clay, like a matte clay type thing. Anyways, I didn't use it. But I since then, like, I kind of scraped all of the shit out of the tin and cleaned up the tin, and have it now kind of as a, like, on the shelf kind of.
That's cool.
Decorative piece.
That's cool. What did you do with the hairnet that came with it?
Yeah, exactly right. But so I posted. It was fun because I posted a picture of it on Instagram at the time, and the caption was, "I don't want fop, damn it." And and a couple people got it, and it was just kind of this cool, like, secret handshake that you had with a select few who were like, "Oh, I get this," you know.
Yep.
I get this, but yeah, the movie's got a lot of fun lines, like, you know. I don't want fop, damn it. I'm a Dapper Dan man, and damn, we're in a tight spot, and RUNNOFT, and we thought yous was a toad.
Yes.
And, or just, you know, they loved him up and turned him into a horny toad. Do not seek the treasure. Like, it's got some quotable lines. But do you have anything? Do you have any notes there that we haven't really, you know, brushed over?
I don't think so. I think that kind of goes over most things.
What's your overall impression on the film?
I did not grow up with it nearly as much as you did, if at all. So I think from the sounds that I'm getting from you, you know, I'm getting a picture of, like, a rotisserie chicken rolling over the fire and, like, slowly pouring, like, different oils and seasonings over it over time and just letting it slowly cook. So it's had some time to brew, some time to marinate. Just with you owning the movie as a kid, CD as a kid, I think I've seen it twice for sure, maybe 3 times. And so I've only watched it as intellectually, like, this is a movie I've watched, and that's it. And there's just something about it. I don't think it's just my fit of a movie, or it just doesn't turn the crank for me. And I don't have any significant faults with it. As we discuss it, even without this theory that kind of adds an interesting wrinkle to it, there's interesting components, there's fun lines, there's great songs, there's all these interesting parts. Just for me, they don't add together to mix the right cake that I want to eat. I don't know if it's the tone of the film, the period and everything that comes with it, or just the actual pace of the storyline. And again, maybe I would find also that specific component more interesting if I actually knew the Odyssey a bit more, or if at all. So I think it just comes down to, there's other Coen brother films that I adore more, and, like, specifically Raising Arizona, The Big Lebowski, True Grit, Fargo, not Hail Caesar because that was a flop. But this film is really popular. It really is. Not only with you that I've just found out, but family members, friends. Pre-COVID, we would have a yearly Christmas movie with extended family, and we would all put down, like, it's a yearly vote and process about how we come to one film. And every year, it seemed that Oh Brother, Where Art Thou would literally make it into the top 4, top 3 as we got voting and kind of whittling our way down to it. And there's something about it that every time it came close, I'd kind of go, I guess. And again, it's not that it's a bad film. It's just not for me. So I think it just ultimately falls down to that. It's an interesting film. It's well made. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not for me.
Huh.
Wait.
Well then.
Did you? Hey, I'm just looking on Facebook. Brady unfriended me.
Yeah. Yeah, basically.
Yeah. That's generally how I feel, and I'm glad it won because it is an interesting film to dissect and kind of break down. So I'm not regretful that it won, and I'm also not regretful that I watched it again because it had been long enough that I literally forgot most of the story. So it was a fascinating ride, but I don't need to rewatch it anytime soon.
Well, my mother would be ashamed of you.
I'm sorry. I mean, I probably will watch it quite in the next couple of years for sure, because like so many family members do adore it, so it's probably going to happen.
I would hope so. I like your family. All right,
Thank
0
you.
to 10 it for me then, sir.
Yeah, it ultimately, I've got two scales that I use. My own is just how much effort, what I want to put into it. Would I pay money to see it in theaters? Would I buy it? Would I rent it? Would I only do it if there's no other choice? The Wi-Fi cut out at the cottage and it's pouring rain. And then the other is Marshall's scale. That's just a typical, on a scale of 10, where does it rank? So on my scale, it was accurate. I would pay money to rent it, which, I mean, I paid money on a streaming site to watch it. So, I mean, I'm counting that as interchangeable. But I wouldn't put much more effort into it. I would not need to feel the need to buy it or see it in theaters. So for me, it's a 4.7 out of 10. Watching it, renting it is more than enough. On Marshall's scale, I gave it a 5 out of 10. So just on a normal, average, typical scale of 0 to 10, it's a 5 for me. Not bad, but not in my hallowed upper echelon of films.
And did Marshall vote for this?
Oh yeah, I'm assuming it's like an 8 or above.
Right. So Marshall now also thinks that you're a dirtbag. That's it's fine.
What did you give it out of 10?
I mean, you know what? I think this is one of the things that gives our podcast so much delicious flavor. Is
Oh yeah.
Is our sometimes aligning, but also sometimes grossly differing opinions when it comes to things.
Sure.
And yeah, so this doesn't happen a lot.
Oh, really? Oh my! I know where this is going. The listener doesn't know. They're in for a treat.
I can't pinpoint anything wrong with this movie.
Well,
I can't think of anything I would want to change. It makes me laugh. It's got great music. It's fun. I give it a 10 out of 10. And I hate doing that. I hate giving movies 10 out of 10.
For the record, there was like a back-to-back week where I think we reviewed like Great Gatsby and La La Land, or they were pretty close together.
Yeah, you did it twice.
And I just coincidentally, like, they were so close together that I gave them 10. And you specifically said, Pete, you can't do that. Like, it lowers your credibility.
It does.
If you give out 10s. And I agree. And I don't give out a lot of 10s. They just happen to be back-to-back. And you don't give out a lot of 10s either. But it does happen on the rare, well-deserving occasion, I guess.
I would say I'm far more hesitant to give them out than you are. I don't think I wouldn't say you're like a willy-nilly just throw them around kind of guy, but I also think that like you're more likely to give a film you like a 10. I think you're more likely to score a film emotionally than I am. Is that fair?
I see what you're saying. I don't think that's true, because I'm thinking it literally was a few kind of that were pieced together that I look back and I still will give them a 10. And I think if it was true what you're saying, and I'm not trying to burst a bubble for any series that we do in the future, but there's been some movies that I've watched that I've really heavily criticized going, is this a 10 or is this a 9? So I would say I disagree, but you're not far off. There are I'm open to giving something a 10, I guess. So
yeah. Semantics. Yeah.
So 10. Wow. Okay.
So
and
10.
I mean the way you're going on about it, anything less than a 10 would be hypocritical. And I don't mean that in a critical way.
Right. Yeah. So speaking of Marshall, I'm gonna hand things over to the guy.
The big guy.
Hey fellas, Marshall here. This week I watched Bong Joon-ho's 2013 film, Snowpiercer. It's a post-apocalyptic film set almost entirely on a train that endlessly circles a frozen Earth in the future. What did you guys watch?
Well, there you go. Jinx. So now You can't say anything until someone says your name 3 times. Otherwise, you owe me a 2-liter bottle of pop. You know that when
or I owe you a tuna sandwich.
Yeah, or dysentery. You know, I'll get it to you one of these days. You know, when I was on the playground and we used to kids would jinx each other, there was nothing more appealing than a 2-liter bottle of pop or soda, depending on where you are in the world.
Yeah, it's amazing the things that you value as a child that now you have access to, but it's like,
But doesn't appeal to me in the slightest.
Well, it's just like, I can't drink 2-liter bottles of pop. Like, I can't do that. It's not good for me to just do that as much as I want. So,
well, and I'm even like, I'm at the age now where I'm like, if it's not diet soda, I'm not, I don't know that I'm interested. That's just too much sugar, man.
Right. Oh yeah. Fair enough.
You know, and I'm one of those, like, here's the thing. I know.
Sure.
I just said diet soda, and there's going to be this slew of like, aspartame gives you cancer. And I'm like, you know what? First of all, we don't have any actual scientific studies done that are substantial that prove that aspartame gives you cancer. We just don't. Look it up. Google it. We just don't. Second of all, if we had empirical data that said aspartame causes cancer, you wouldn't be allowed to use it as a food additive. You just wouldn't. There wouldn't be the fact that there's so many sodas made with aspartame. It wouldn't be a thing. So, so just stifle.
I can tell this is a heated topic. Getting back to the point, 2 things. Thank you for Marshall for dropping a message into the show and setting off our What You Watch segment. Thank you as always. And if anyone else wants to do so, they can always feel welcome to do so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I'll answer the man.
Do it. Yeah, he asked you. You know, technically he asked both of us, but you go first. Sure. So he kind of. Okay. And then because you're going to end up asking me anyways.
Yes.
So go ahead.
Okay. So one is a retroactive one that I totally forgot to mention last week, and it had to do with our Batman. There was a connection to our Batman episode. I watched a Val Kilmer movie with a friend of the show. You could say he was a founding father of the show in a way. Maybe I don't know what I'm trying to say with that. Like, I'm not saying he, I don't know. He helped us with movie men names, podcast names. I guess we weren't the movie men at that point. Regardless, Ben, friend of the show, Ben. Cool. I'm really fumbling around this shout out here. Ben and I watched a movie on our deck remotely. Over we spaced out over 6 feet. We're wearing masks. The TV was on the deck. It was within public health guidelines, but we watched a movie together. It was kind of cute. It was, but we watched an interesting film. We watched a movie from 1993 called Tombstone.
Ooh.
And it's an interesting film, not just because it has Val Kilmer, it has Kurt Russell, it has Sam Elliott, and if you or the listener don't know who that is, just picture like a white mustache and a famous Texas accent, and he's in every movie that has a character that needs that role.
Yeah, he plays Sam Elliott. He played the 2 roles that are popping into mind as he plays Bradley Cooper's older brother in the latest Star is Born.
Yes, 100%. Yep, that's
and he also plays Thunderbolt Ross in the Eric Bana Ang Lee Hulk from 2003.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that, but you're totally right on who Sam Elliott is. You're not missing
much.
For sure. Okay. It also had Bill Paxton.
Oh, the late.
It had... Yes, unfortunately. It had Michael Rooker, who to me isn't a big deal, but he played the racist jerk on the Walking Dead TV show. It had some... Apparently... Billy Bob Thornton, I don't remember him being in this, but there was definitely some Billy Zane, some Terry O'Quinn, which is relevant to me rewatching Lost, and a brief role of, what's his name? Charlton Heston. So this movie, this movie had so many famous actors, and I think there was like a blend of famous at the time, were kind of in their golden years as far as Charlton Heston, and then some that were kind of up and coming. But regardless,
So the only
crazy
thing
amount
this
of-
film is missing is Sean Connery.
apparently he played Cactus number 4.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
whatever that
Cockfish.
means. Regardless, incredibly crazy star-studded cast. Very cool movie. Apparently, just how Val Kilmer performed in Tombstone did help nudge him into the direction of being chosen for Batman. So that was the tie-in. Anyway, fun movie. I would call it a classic just because of who's all in it and how solid of a film it was. It was definitely, it was probably like Ben's equivalent of Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Like, he loved this movie. He's grown up with it. Solid film. I think you got to check it out. It's rated R and it's on Disney Plus, which to me just doesn't coincide,
yeah.
but it's a thing. It's a thing.
I'll ask. Yeah, I'll have to ask my mom. But
Okay. Regardless, very cool movie. Shout out to Ben, who I'm assuming would just give an equally resounding endorsement of that film.
so
as well.
was it on your deck or was it on his?
It's on my deck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Listen. When
No,
you,
no, no.
when-
Hey,
no,
no.
don't-
Hey. You know,
Don't. No. Don't.
You know? I'd like to bring something to the attention of the jury. Shall I?
That you're 2.5 hours away from me.
No. Hang on.
Okay.
Hang on.
Okay.
Hang on.
Okay.
Hang on.
Sure. Break it down. Break it down.
We have actually just crossed the 2 full year milestone.
Oh, yeah, we definitely have.
So we're in our 3rd year of this show.
Which is wild.
We are honing in on 150 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
This is episode 143, and we're honing in. Probably end of July will be 150.
Mm-hmm.
The last time I saw you was to record episode 50.
And 51.
I'm 51, but whatever.
Mainly 50.
So it's been 100 episodes apart.
Yeah.
2/3
It's
of the
been a
show.
while. Yeah.
Yeah, have happened not only during a pandemic when we can't go see movies for our damn movie podcast. Good God, what a shit time to, if we'd known that, that all the movie theaters were about to close. Do you think there would have been like some second guessing? I might have been like, what? I might have been like, let's do it on gerbils or something. Let's not pick movies because, let's do video games. Let's do video games, not movies. But it's been interesting. So anyways, all of that is to say, not only have I not been invited to come watch a movie on your deck, but I haven't been invited to come watch a movie on Ben's deck either. So what the hell, Ben? What the hell? Anyways, that's
Wow, that is bold. I mean, Ben's deck. Yeah. Tune in.
yeah, Ben.
Ben. What? Wait, why are we calling out Ben? He's a nice guy. We love Ben.
I used to sit in Ben's wood shed thing. His tool shed made of wood,
Yes.
which makes it kind of a wood shed. and playing cards and shooting them dice.
I think we're getting a little off track here. I think that if we can summarize things, we miss hanging out because of COVID, and we look forward to hanging out as soon as it is safe to do so.
Yeah, screw you, Ben.
No, don't say that. Do not say that to Ben. He knows you're joking.
No, I'm glad you enjoyed the movie. It was a good movie.
It was really good. It was really good. A
Good.
good recommendation on his part. The only other
Good.
thing I watched was The Nightingale from 2018. Incredibly heavy movie. It's a drama thriller. I would not recommend it to anyone, not because it was poorly made. It was a very well-made movie, but it was intense and almost too much. I would say way too much. It just had some really, I don't want to call it graphic stuff in it because it didn't actually show anything, but it like had some very it portrayed some relationships that were like horrible things were done or bad things were done, and it was a movie that really was fueling into kind of making the audience not shy. It didn't shy away from realisms of the time. So an interesting film, but I would never recommend it. Or if anyone did want to watch it, they really need to just be aware of the mature themes that are in it and the parental rating. But The Nightingale, an interesting film. It was set in Australia in the 1800s, so there was definitely some fascinating stuff about it, but very serious. What did you watch this week?
I think I have 2 films to report.
Sure.
Yeah. And then 2 other things to touch on.
Okay.
So the films that I watched would be Iron Man 3.
The journey
moving
continues.
on.
Okay.
Moving on to phase 2 of the MCU. Oh, no. That's not true. Iron Man 3 and Thor the Dark World. You know, okay, so here's the thing.
No.
Technically, last night was the first time I've ever seen it all the way through because
Wow.
I have without fail fallen asleep all 4 times I've tried to watch it, except for last night. Chugged a coffee during the movie. I maybe dozed for a minute, but was there for basically the whole film. I give it a 4.5 out of 10. You know, it's not the garbage that I thought it was, but I do think it's among the weakest, if not the weakest, movie in the MCU.
Fair enough. Yep.
But what's exciting about it is tonight after this, I'm going to go watch Captain America Winter Soldier, which is basically one of the strongest, probably top 5 strongest films in the MCU. So it's you know, it's an ugly pit before the beautiful mountain.
It's a roller coaster for sure. The downs come before the ups.
It is a roller coaster.
Yep.
So watch those. Watched The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It, which just came out this week.
Is that the new release, like the new one?
It's the new one. And I will say it's been a long time since I've encountered a horror film that disturbing.
Oh.
Like, just, you know, one of the persons I watched it with who has loved the rest of the Conjuring universe, you know, the movie ended and I said, so? And they were like, you know, that just hit different.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
it's dark.
Oh.
It's dark and it's creepy and it's powerful. Yeah.
That says something because it's not like the original Conjuring is Mary Poppins. Like it's pretty somber. It's pretty intense to begin with.
And you know, and I think what's so interesting about the Conjuring one. So there's this whole Conjuring universe, but specifically the Conjuring films, like the 3 main installments in it, are all based on true records, based on genuine claims. And so that, I think that always adds this extra layer of extra layer of creepy. The other 2 things that I wanted to touch on, one is that I've made a glorious return. And I'm now approaching a quarter of the way through the 4th season of 24. And I have a quick review of a new streaming service that I signed up for.
Oh.
So I signed up for Paramount Plus.
No. Okay.
Which Canadian is $6 a month.
Yep.
Super cheap.
Yep.
And unless you're interested in one of the 20 shows that are available on the Canadian version. So not worth it.
Okay.
The Canadian version is the same price as the American version, like once you factor in the exchange rate.
Sure.
And there's 20 shows, and there's no movies, and there's no... the American one is just friggin' loaded. I looked at a list of what's on the American one. The American one looks incredible.
Oh, man.
Incredible for that price. The Canadian one's terrible, with the exceptions of they have all of the CSI shows, like all seasons of all CSI. So that intrigues me a little bit.
Sure.
They have the original Sabrina the Teenage Witch series.
Okay.
They have Happy Days. They have 40 seasons of Survivor.
Dear Moses.
Which is kind of a fun throwback, you know.
Yeah.
But the reason I signed up for it,
Okay.
and the thing that I will watch just before I cancel that garbage, is the new updated CGI crazy 3D computer animation Rugrats revival.
Oh.
Yeah. So,
Huh.
man, the 90s kid in me is just ready to go. But it was fun. So I watched like just 2 minutes, just kind of like loaded up one of the episodes, and the Rugrats theme starts to play, right? And it's like the doon 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 doon, and you're like, oh, it's Rugrats, but they've like updated, so it's the same intro from the original show, but instead of Chucky like riding around on a corded vacuum, he's sitting on top of one of those little robotic ones that like bump into the walls and then change directions. And so it's just like, it's like a fresh take on it. So I don't know. I haven't watched any episodes yet. So I don't know. It could be garbage, or it could be, you know, it could be like what they did with the horrible Magic School Bus revival, which was garbage and don't watch it. But I'm hoping it's not. I'm hoping it's worth the price of admission, because very little of the rest of it is. So, yeah.
Disappointing.
Wrap it up.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening. We really appreciate it. Like, follow, subscribe on all our social media pages they're listed below: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Check out our Patreon page, our merchandise page. It's ways for you to help us keep the show going, keep the show growing. And it's ways for us to give perks back to you. And again, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next week.
Yeah, and if you're super bored, as I know you are, when you're done listening to this episode, head down into the description and check out my gaming YouTube channel.
Nice.
Where I upload an hour of content every weekday.
Woo!
That's 5 hours a week.
That's a decent amount of
That's
content.
20 hours a month.
Yeah.
That's a lot of hours a year. It's a bunch. I'll do the math some other time.
Sure.
Yeah. Join us next week for Batman, I think. I think we're doing, speaking of George Clooney.
Speaking of JC.
Speaking of Clooney.
GC, pardon me. GC.
And Arnold.
The only thing I know about, or that I think I know about, is that I think this is the nipple Batman. Am I right?
Batman gets pretty nipply in this one.
Well, tune in, folks.
Yeah. Tune in for the bat nipples. Same Batman time, same Batman channel.